Good morning, traders, and welcome to another Jackrabbit Club video. This one for Saturday, August 5th, 2017. Hope you guys had a great week. Our positions just continue to move well. Nothing really out of the ordinary as far as anything that's been going against us. Just the normal wear and tear, the normal grind of the stock market. Last week, I know, just want to get this out there for full disclosure. Last week, I know we talked about entering Charter, CHTR. Sure enough, I was about a day late and $1 short. We could have entered, woulda, coulda, shoulda. But if we had entered on Friday, we'd be sitting on a nice gain. We waited till Monday, and their news came out about them having some kind of merger or something going on. So I took that trade off. I did not enter that trade, and this is something that you have to, just kind of go on the fly with. But the stock was opening up 10%. There was no reason for me to pay up for the stock. It was just one of the next 100. It's not the savior. It's not the trade that's going to make you $1 million. It's just one of the next 100. So the trade came off, and instead we entered COL in its place. And sure enough, Friday or Monday morning, I was looking like an idiot because let's see, we go to the daily chart, and you could see that COL here was where we entered on Monday, and by the close of Monday, it was about a significant dollar amount lower. I think it was like $8 lower. So again, didn't look like the smartest thing to do, but we trade on the weekly, not the daily, and the stock actually came back and closed near its highs. So we're actually up on the trade now, and that's kind of the crazy thing about the stock market. So again, just wanted to have that out there for full disclosure, so you guys understand that I'm not trying to sneak around or do anything on the videos that would make it seem that I am not truthful. But let's go through the positions. If we take a look at, all right, so before this video, I actually, right at the close of Friday, we exited DHR and DGX. DGX for a nice gain, DHR for a small loss. And I also added a position in Tesla. Okay, so we'll go over those, but I'm not going to be around on Monday, so I also want to make sure my trades got in, and I did that on Friday. All right, Amazon. We took half off. It continues to sell off. Nothing else to really do on Amazon. Let's see if it can hold this 965 area. If not, I'm out. It's very simple. We'll take half the position of profit, and we'll take a smaller profit on the other half if we get under that 965. I don't foresee that happening. I would expect people really looking to buy Amazon at those levels, not looking to sell it. But again, let's see where it goes and see what happens. EVGO, similar to last week, just continues to consolidate right below that 255 level, that resistance area. And let's actually zoom this in. 2 years weekly. Okay, this can go away. That's nothing. All right, so just continues to consolidate. BBY, all right, strong week last week, another strong week this week. Potentially here, a position to add, or a spot to add. Okay, you had this move higher. All right, let's get rid of this line. All right, and here we are. BBY breaking out to new highs. All right, so if you want to go ahead and add to this position, which based on my position size looks like something that I should do. Let's see. Yeah, we'll look to add to this position. And so new stop level is going to be that 53, that double bottom at 53. Right now we're trading at 60. All right, so we're going to risk $7 on that trade, and let's see, where were we before? We were at 50 to 42. So we had $8, so we may be able to add a few shares. Nothing really substantial, and if it's not substantial where you're like almost doubling your position or at least a quarter of the previous position, I don't really do it just for the reason of it's going to cost me more in commissions than the 5 extra shares in the portfolio. So I'll take a look at that. But again, this is a position that if you're not in it already or you're looking for a spot to get in it, then this would be a good start. And I'm actually going to take some notes with an old-fashioned pen and paper just so I don't forget to take a look at this after the video. Next one, Berk B. All right, now we've talked about this endlessly, and this is the point about being patient. We picked our points on the way up to make sure that we added to positions, we add to strength, and sure enough, this week, a solid week in Berk B and a nice move higher. Especially, this is one of my biggest positions, and it's rewarding us now with a new breakout. All right, breakout over that 177 area, and our stop down here at 166. So again, if this is a new position for you, you can definitely go ahead and put it on with that stop right around the 166 area. If it's one that you just started trading, we have a new breakout to new highs, I would still use that 166 area as your stop. COL we talked about briefly, but this is one that, there we go, got in here around the 112.80, so we're up about $6 on the trade so far. And this was a wild week. It was all over the place. The high was 121.73 and the low was 105.04. And the crazy thing is they didn't even have earnings this week. They had them last week. So I'm not sure why it moved around so much. Don't really care why it moved around so much. But there it is. New trade on in COL. DHI, all right, continues to just work. We can take this out. All right, just continues to consolidate after this breakout. Nothing really to do here. EA, the other new name we added this week, broke out, and then this week gave a little bit back. You can see came back, tested that breakout level, and moved back above it. So let's see where it goes from there. FedEx, after a few weeks of pullback, some selling, maybe the sign that this is getting ready to reverse with a green candle here. Buyers stepping in at these levels, and that would be great because if we can reverse, we can then identify maybe a higher consolidation level and look to potentially trail stops. GLW, all right, this one was looking good until last week where we had a huge sell-off. This week couldn't really get much going, but still holding above our stop, and we're still in it. So wouldn't be surprised based on this pattern to see this break down below last week's low, take out our stop this week, and look for an exit at the end of the week. But again, we trade price, not prediction, and we'll see what happens. HIG, again, with those financials, they're strong. This one, similar situation, just continues to work higher. Would love to see it go sideways and identify a new potential area for a stop. Not doing that right now. Also, position size and profits are not necessarily big enough to start trailing to the previous low. So for right now, just let it play out and see what happens. ICE, again, another financial. This one not showing as much strength this week. I think they actually had earnings. So some sideways, pullback. Maybe this is the low, maybe not, but let's just keep it on the radar and see what happens. ITW, took half off up here on ITW, have watched it pull back, and really, this is a point where I would want to see it reverse. It's right on that trend line. It tried to break below that trend line, now it's back above it, and trend line is nothing, it's arbitrary, but I still like that it's above this low here, the low of 140.109. That's really more my line in the sand, I guess you would say, more than a trend line. I'll never use a trend line to get out of a trade. It's always got to be a level. All right, think of levels as price and support, resistance. Those to me carry so much more weight than an arbitrary trend line because, as you can see, if I tighten this up, maybe something like that, where we use this low, and I wasn't really even planning that, but sure enough, we hit a new low. All right, so ITW, half a position on, looking for a reversal. If it can reverse off that trend line, maybe take out this high from last week, then maybe we can look to add to that position on a pullback versus a breakout, but we'll see what happens. JPM thought we had a new breakout this week, and sure enough, it pulled back. So now you have 1, 2, and 3 resistance points, all within that 94, 94.50 area. So keep an eye on that level. But a new breakout here in JPM will trail stop up, and we'll add to that position. Microsoft, all right, just pulling back after this nice run, breakout, testing that breakout. Nothing really to do in Microsoft. Netflix, all right, took half off and just letting it kind of work. Let's see what happens as we go forward. RTN has moved now out of that consolidation and has been up 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive weeks. Got in at 158, now trading 173, so up about 15 bucks. And again, the position size and profit is not enough yet for me to warrant starting to trail to previous lows. Tesla we'll come back to real quick. UNH, all right, this is one that we have been trailing from new lows. We've been long this back from October, right around the 147 area. Wish I had more. Wish I could have added on one of these breakouts, but never actually worked out that way. But what we are going to do here is trail that stop up once again to a new weekly low. That weekly low gets taken out. We're taking half the position off, and we will revisit it later. And last but not least, Win barely held on to that support area. You can see here, I thought we were getting out of Win at the end of this week, back midweek, but sure enough, this is why we use closing stops back above support, and just holding on barely. All right, so we got out 2 names. Those were DGX. Okay, DGX, we got out. We took a nice $750 profit, 1.89 R. So again, if you're risking $1,000 per trade, 1.89 would be $1,890. All right, 1.89 times the amount you're risking per trade. Everything in your portfolio should be based on risk, not arbitrary. All right, and that's something that we continue to go over. I think it's very important. Every trade should meet your criteria for risk, and it should also be equal in risk to all other trades in your portfolio. Okay, every trade I enter, there's a certain amount of risk that I'm willing to take on those trades. That's how I get my position size, and that's why I think if you start working in these R values, risk to reward essentially, it'll change the way you think about how you put on positions. It's not just, oh, I'm going to buy 100 shares. It doesn't work that way. So we had a breakout, a rejection of that breakout. Okay, breakout, rejection of that breakout, sideways, and a move lower back. Could it come back into this 104 and bounce? Absolutely. For right now, the trade is over. All right. Of 81.50. The only reason I was using that low was because, which was like 81.40, and our top level, which was 81. Okay, now this week we got some, and it's time to take that trade off. Sure enough, to the gain that we made in DG eligible, and that's the whole point. All right, small wins. And last but not least, on as far as pullbacks at the markets, or maybe we have trades that we could take a little bit, thinking that if start the names that have been continually going higher and that money Also, as crazy as it sounds, I've never owned Tesla. Pattern here, move up, here's pull back, and that, and what happens after that? Well, it just makes position as you on where we're at uh, with our stop, around 300, risking about $55 per share. Hold. Okay. February of 2000. Say 3 years hasn't done a thing. And we'll see. But again, price your toe in the water. The other one that one that I am holding off on to own it when it's perfect. Have that this week, and we don't. Week, Goldman. Was like 232. Right. Um, didn't enter Disney. Similar idea. And see what goes on with Disney. Because we may be that one as well for next week. If we above this 107 area, that would be another name I'd like to own. Again, just because they're good companies. The setups are there. While they're not the breakouts, I think the pullbacks are just as good. So we don't trade them that often, and it's just good to know how to trade them. So that's it for this week. Again,